Hey there! Welcome back to the Mothcast, a podcast about video games and how a couple of moths feel about them. The game for episode 47 is Terraforming Mars, a PC port of a board game by the same name. Get your preferred game piece color and let's get into the podcast. All right. So, the game this week is called Terraforming Mars.
Yeah, and it's
Not the game that we were
uh,
expecting.
no, it's not the game we were expecting. We were expecting like a regular you know, game, I guess.
Yeah.
Weird to say, but turns out this game is actually just like a board game.
Yeah, it's like straight up a board game ported to the PC, which is like not uncommon by any means.
No, and it's not because there's a lot of board games that are made into PC games.
Like I played there was a time where I played the deck building game Ascension for like hours upon hours upon hours on end
That
with
is
bots
true because
my phone.
It was yeah, it's a card game that was on mobile.
Yeah.
Which I also played for a while.
Yeah. So yeah, this podcast I think is going to be a little bit different. We are going to be talking about similar subjects to what we normally do: graphics, music, gameplay, etc. But there is no story in this game other than
not really. It literally has a splash at the beginning when you start the game. It's like, oh, in like the tutorial or something. It was oh, you're a corporation who has decided to terraform Mars, and that's it.
Yep. There's not really a whole lot of context in the things you're doing.
It's
so
it just sets the oh, why are we terraforming Mars?
Right. So not terribly important to like cover that.
No, but
and especially since
at least.
Yeah, especially since it's a port of a board game. So like, technically it probably even shouldn't be on the list of games that we played because it's not like a traditional video game.
But we didn't know that.
That's
we're gonna do it anyway.
That's kind of the nature of this podcast. We didn't really know a whole lot about the games that we're playing since we got a lot of our games from the free Epic Games Store or our games that we picked up for very cheap and thought looked interesting. We don't really know a whole lot about the majority of games that we played. So it's, if there's a game that ends up being less of a game and more of a board game, that's just how it is.
That's how it happens sometimes,
So Terraforming Mars, just to preface it, is a little, it's a hexagonal, I guess like normally it would be a city building competition co-op game.
Yeah.
Does that sound about right? If you were to like classify it to somebody?
City building,
like you have a board that has a limited number of spaces that are all next to each other in hexagons.
Yeah.
You're working together to complete a goal, so that's co-op. But there's a winner in the game because every time you complete an objective, you get points, or you play a card, you get points, or you do this, you get points. And the more things you have at the end of the game, the more points you get. So, the more points wins, and so it is technically competitive.
Like a competitive, the co-op is the it stands for competitive.
Yeah, competitive cooperative.
It's
a co-op. There you go. Yeah. So that's the game. It definitely has the sci-fi theming. So
of course.
Yeah. Whatever.
You're going to Mars. Got to be spaceships and stuff, right?
Spaceships and like
dome cities.
Making volcanoes and nuking things for heat. It's great.
Yeah. It's good stuff.
The way that we want to sort of frame this podcast is, how does this game hold up as a board game that has been ported to PC? Like, does it work? I think the short answer to that is yes.
Yes. I also agree.
Because it's actually really fun.
It is
Um,
actually really fun.
there's a lot of moving parts, so like I almost feel like it might not really work as well as a
As
board game.
as a board game, yeah, which is weird because I think it started out as a board game.
Yeah. And
But
so yeah, I mean like the things that we initially both of us came to whenever we first played the game was it's very similar to the Settlers of Catan,
yeah,
with
where
the
where it's like you
exception.
gotta place cities and you gotta place like greenery and stuff and oceans and stuff just on the map. You place them on the map wherever you want or
Right.
wherever they can be
Yeah, I was
placed.
gonna say wherever you are able to.
Yeah.
And like whenever you play with more than just the two people, which I played a game with two people to start with, and then I played a game with three people,
Well,
two of them being
2
AI.
AIs. Yeah.
And like the map gets very crowded very quickly. So I imagine with four people, it's gonna be, you're gonna be like ruining other people's plans
Like
every single turn.
constantly. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and so like it's similar to Catan in that way. But in terms of
Mhm.
like video games, it's pretty close to like a really, really, really dumbed down version of Civilization.
Yeah. Actually, I think there is a Catan.
Oh,
Um,
there's like almost certainly a Settlers of Catan
there is.
video game like port.
Oof. The reviews are mostly negative.
The Catan universe is free.
It's free,
Oh,
but
mostly
it's
negative.
like
That's so
mostly
funny.
negative. The recent reviews are mostly negative, which ow. Oh,
Most
horrendous
likely because
buggy.
it's a bad port.
It is just a bad port. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and I guess we should be happy because
yeah. Clearly, this Terraforming Mars is a good port of the.
it's a very good port.
Like
Um,
honestly, I kind of want to go out and buy the like physical version just to see how different it is or how like what.
well, and you don't even have to do that. You could go to a card shop that has like games you could play, or a board game shop that has the games like that are open that you can like open and play there. And it might
Yeah,
have this. It probably would. I don't see why it wouldn't. This seems like one of those games that they would have open since it is like Catan or something
yeah,
like that.
maybe it's just
Um,
not as well known as Catan.
right. Yeah, because I've never heard of this, and I
I never
play
heard of
board
it
games all
either.
the time.
Yeah,
And yeah, so this game is definitely not Civilization. And
definitely not.
it's not Endless Legend, which is the other game that we have both played. That's the like 4X style of video game, I guess you would call it. I think it's called 4X.
Um,
4X video
yeah,
game.
4X turn-based strategy game.
Yeah, both turn-based and real-time strategy titles.
Yeah,
Expand, exploit, exterminate is what 4X
why
is.
is
I
it
didn't know
4X?
that.
They all
Uh,
start with E.
I don't know, man. I didn't make the rules. Okay, no, whatever.
I mean, I guess it's because you say it as explore,
Yeah, that's
exterminate,
true. That's true.
whatever.
Yeah, got him. It makes more sense the more you think about it. Yeah. Um,
Stupid. Anyway,
so this game's graphics are like actually really good.
yeah, they're great.
For a video game that is a board game port, this game's graphics are actually kind of insane.
Yeah, they are,
Um,
and like, um, the animations are pretty good too. They're a little long, but like,
but as we found out
whatever.
when we were mid play,
We
you can
could
actually
turn
speed
them
them up
off. It just,
or turn them off. Yeah,
I just turned them off entirely.
I sped them up because I like them a little, just a
I
little.
also just a little, but I turned them off because I was running out of time, and I need
Yeah.
because my timer would tick down while like your animations were playing.
Oh, really? Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, it was like, yeah, I need this to not happen at this time.
Maybe that didn't happen to me because I was the host, and so I got zero
Maybe,
ping, peer to
yeah, maybe,
peer.
but like still, it's like, yeah, I'll just turn these off, and like I can actually like play my turn. while my timer is going down.
Of course, if you're wondering what we're talking about, we did play a game together since there is online capability, which is very important to mention.
Yes.
So if you got this game from Epic Games, you can make an account with the, like, I guess it would be the producers of the game. Make an account there, and then you can friend each other on their account service, and then you can play together. So that's cool. You know, if you have an Epic Games account and you got this game for free, like we did, and you have a couple of other, friends that have also been building up an Epic Games library, you can play this game with each other basically for free. I heavily suggest that it's well made. It is not the Catan for free garbage port. It's quite a good port.
Yeah.
I feel like we're getting to the end, but we're not. We'll still talk about more, I promise. Yeah. So in that way, it is also very good. But yeah, no, we played a game together right before we recorded this. And
unfortunately, the one thing is to mention, when you do the online, like, private game, you can't add AI, I don't think.
Yeah, you can't, so, which is unfortunate.
You have to either play against each other or...
nobody.
Nobody.
Yeah, just each other. So, which is fine. Just, everyone's got 3 friends they can play this with. Don't they? Come on, everybody has those. Yeah. It's fine. Yeah, we recorded a game.
Way, it's fine.
Yeah, we recorded a game that I'm going to edit up because it is quite long and there are lots of stretches of dead space and time. Because you're just like waiting for the other person to play. So I'll edit that down. I'll upload it to this channel, and you guys can watch that gameplay if you so desire. Yes. So anyway, the graphics of this game, very good. Animations,
very good.
Quite neat. They don't even need to be there, really. But they're good.
They don't really, but they threw them in, and they're still pretty good. Like the animation of the city being built is
yeah, neat. And like adding the greenery to the planet that like rises up from the
volcanoes that come out of the ground too. It's cool stuff.
The one thing that I always look at whenever it comes to things that don't need to be there is, do they add? Do they add to the experience? And I think these ones do.
These ones do, yeah.
I really think that like whenever they got the people to design this like sort of game, they did a really good job, and they got somebody who they knew what they were doing. They're really small animations, but they're really good.
But like it would feel kind of awkward for it to just appear,
Yeah. Well, and like if you like, we can use the Catan free game. If you look at the screenshots in that, it looks like it's a game board with game pieces like you would have in real life.
Yeah, it's like a worse version of Tabletop Sim.
Right. And so,
but this Terraforming Mars is not that.
Yeah, it's not that. It looks like, you're looking at an actual
Mars.
planet.
You're looking at Mars.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're looking at Mars, and you want to put stuff on Mars.
Right. And so like you're not like putting pieces down like it is on this game board of Catan. You're like actually doing
literally
things on
just
Mars,
making cities and building greeneries, or just like making forests appear.
Right. So yeah, I think it definitely adds. It's very nice. I like it a lot.
Yeah, it's good.
So going right into another thing that doesn't necessarily need to be there, well, not all of it at least, is like the music or the sound design. Very simple track. There's only really one, and it's like very long and it loops, and it's
just fine. It's pretty good. It's not annoying or anything.
Yeah, it's just like a space age, like almost lo-fi in the background, like slow beat sort of situation, and it's quite good. It just kind of like helps you get into the vibe of like you're in space and you're doing space things, which I think is really, really neat.
I think it's great too.
I not really any notes. I like we talk about we talk about, the music in games a lot, because
Yeah.
sometimes you have music that's like really, really amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And it adds a lot to the game. And then there's sometimes where like you go, well, like you could have done all these things and you could have added a whole bunch more. And it's like, oh, it was a missed opportunity. The thing that comes to mind is the Never Yield game that had really good music, but
Yeah,
like
it
they
was
never did
great.
anything with it other than to just like showed it to you.
Yeah.
Whereas this game, it's like, we're going to go with something very simple, but something that you really want to listen to. It kind of reminds me
Yeah,
of,
it's just
yeah, go ahead.
there. It's
Well,
just there to like
to give
because
a
they have
vibe.
to they can't like have it silent, you know.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking like Balatro,
Yeah, exactly.
where
You
like
just
it's
have that
not
ambient
annoying to
music
listen to. You know,
and
it's actually quite pleasant to listen to. Now, would I listen to it for like 8 hours on repeat? Maybe not.
I
but
mean
would I
if you're playing the game for 8 hours.
but would I use it as, well, yeah, that's true. That is a good point. But would I use it as like a backing track to something? Yeah, sure, why not?
Absolutely.
Which is exactly what it's made for. So
Exactly. That's what
that's good. The other thing is like sound effects. Like they're
those were
all,
really good, yeah.
whenever like a volcano pops out of the ground, like we said, not only does the animation look good, it sounds like a big
Yeah,
volcano.
like sounds like a volcano.
It all sounds exactly
Like
how you'd
earth
want it to.
crumbling and like, lava flowing like and
Right.
making lava. And then same with the greenery. It sounds like trees cracking and growing and
Yeah,
etc.
like you can almost hear the like trees like stretching and groaning against each other.
Yeah.
Like in their like rapid growth out of the ground. It's very, like, very well done, very
Mhm.
polished. And like these are all like really simple things, but
But they really add to the experience.
yeah, they all really super add um to the vibe of this game. It's like you can be playing it and totally zone out, and you're just like
Just playing.
whenever the other people are playing, you could do something else on your computer or on your phone or whatever, waiting for the
Mhm.
other, like, play a game with four AI or four friends, and like you gotta kind of like look at what they're doing if you want to win.
Kinda.
But like there's a log for that. You can go and look back at what cards they played and be like, oh, hey, they did that. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I think we talked about it while we were playing earlier. Um, if you played this on local with four people, it wouldn't really matter
Yeah,
because,
if you knew what they had in their hand because it's not really you can't stop them from playing the cards.
right,
The
exactly.
only thing would be is like you would just kind of know what their plan is, but like again, you can't really stop it.
Yeah.
I mean, the only way you'd be able to stop it is maybe like block,
I mean,
but like
uh,
it's still like if they want to make a city, you're not gonna know where they want that city.
yeah. Well, and the other thing is like there's so much territory because it's designed around four people playing, obviously. And there's
Hmm.
so much like resources on the map that like no matter what you do, and you're going to be able to do it, like you're going to get something out of it,
Yeah.
like resource wise.
Hmm.
Um, which I guess leads us into gameplay. Um, this game has a lot of moving parts. It has a
Yeah.
lot of different resources. It has a lot of different space on the map. And then it has like cards that add even more stuff, and then there's tags on the cards that add even more effects, and then there
Yeah.
are like different cards that give you actions that add even more complexity, and then there are effects that certain cards give you. Like there's all these
Yeah.
things that boil
It's
down to 2 actions per turn.
yeah. It's rough,
Eh,
but
well, I mean, I don't know. I think it's kind of brilliant if I'm
it
being
is because
honest.
it's like you have to be very again strategic because it's a strategy game. You have to be strategic to what 2 actions you want to take per turn. Because like say 2 people have enough heat to get the next like temperature increase to get the reward that's there.
Yeah,
But
the
like
free
you
objective
go
reward.
you go before that person and you have your 2 actions. You don't want to wait. You want to use that heat on this turn before them so you don't have to cuz you can use the heat anytime. It's just you want to use it before them.
So let's actually explain how the turn
And then
structure goes.
you want to use the whatever else you were planning to do for that turn later.
Right. So okay,
Instead.
here's how the turn structure is. So there are these things. So each person has a turn,
Mhm.
and each turn has 2 actions. But even larger than that, everybody in it, that the thing that contains all the turns is called a generation. And
Yeah.
so what a generation is I play as many actions and as many turns as I can play until I have no more actions to play. And once I pass the turn with 0 actions played, I can't play anymore in that generation.
Yeah.
And then once everybody does the same, then it goes to the next generation where you get your resources renewed, which is all of your money, basically. It's called MC or mega credits.
Yeah. You get your it's like you have production, like a value on your production, and then of course your current of that resource. So every generation you get whatever value your production is to your resources. So you gain that much per generation, and then you use it for the whole generation for whatever.
Right. And so like Tim was saying before, with there are, I guess we should have explained this before. Like he was saying with heat, you need to get to a certain goal, which is 14 degrees, but you start at -30. But there are some checkpoints along the way that give you free rewards to whoever hits that specific temperature
checkpoint at that time. Yes.
Right. And that's the same with the oxygen levels. But I don't think it's the same as with the oceans. The oceans just have the spaces on the board.
Yeah, it's just they're just there.
Yeah, so the goal of the game is you need to get 9 oceans total. And then you need to get, what is it? 14 oxygen.
14% oxygen.
And I think it's 14%.
No, it's like,
oh, is it 8? It might be 8.
8 degrees Celsius.
Yeah. And so you once you get those things collectively, you finish out the generation, and then the game's done. Then you count up VPs. Because of course this is a board game. Of course you've got VPs.
Yep.
Yeah. What were you gonna say?
And of course, you've got different cards that increase your production or decrease your production to increase another production.
Well, you should explain what production is.
Well, I did. The production is each what you get each generation.
Yeah, at the start of the generation, you get
the start of the generation is your production
amount.
Phase. You get this amount of, say, heat. Like if you have 6 heat production, you get 6 heat per turn, per generation.
Per generation, right. And then the other thing that's sort of external to your production steps is the essentially you start out with 20 of this, but it's the terraforming level, and you gain more of it by contributing to the global goals.
Oxygen or temperature or
well, the global goals, that's the 3 goals to finishing the game.
Yep. Which actually, that's your main bulk of your victory points. So it's you want to increase that
as much as you can,
because while there are cards that give you VP, you're not gonna win on those alone.
Yeah, I mean you can do all kinds of things to get VP. I think it's every time you place down a city, every forest around that city gives you a VP.
Yeah.
I think it's like there
Every
are independent VPs that are on cards. There
yeah.
are what else?
Every time you there are cards that give like one VP per like say animal tag that is on this
Yeah.
or animal that's on this card.
Yeah, because cards have tags, like we said before, and sometimes
Yeah, and it's like
the
VP.
tags are required to play them. Like you have to have X number of tags to play this other card, or you know, whatever.
A lot of cards have like gain this per this many tags you have of that
Right.
tag. Which I had a card that was that I didn't play till very late. I had a gain energy production per energy tag.
Oh,
And I
and you
didn't play
played
it
a bunch of
because
that before.
like I at the time like when I at the end of the game, near the end of the game, I didn't need it anymore.
Yeah.
Because we were getting close to the end and it was just like that's not gonna get me any more points.
Right. I think the other thing that I'm missing is the number of steel and titanium that you have at the end of the game gives you VP.
Yeah, I think
it's like
I don't
one
know.
VP per of that. And what steel and titanium is you can either there are certain mining cards that you can get to like increase the number of these that you get. But I think the default is one each production. So you get one per generation. There are some on the map to where if you occupy that space, you get like 2 steel or 2 titanium.
Immediately, yeah.
Yeah, which
and what those do is for specific tagged cards, like building, I think building.
I think it's like certain. I think it's building ones cost steel, but then like space ones cost titanium.
Space ones cost titanium, yeah,
something like that.
And you can use your steel or titanium to reduce the cost of that card.
Yeah, the MC cost or the mega credit cost
per used steel or titanium.
I want to say it's 2 MC per steel and 3 for titanium.
I think it's the reverse. I think it was 3 per steel and 2 per titanium.
Yeah, something like that. It's 2 and 3. I don't remember which one is which though.
Yeah,
it could be either. I honestly I don't remember, even though we just played.
Yeah. Well, we didn't, pay attention.
Listen, I may have accidentally spent 12 steel on one card, like totally accidentally.
You just use all your steel or titanium for that card that you want to play and get more later.
Yeah.
Anyway, and another like interaction, I guess, between the resources is, I think, at the end of every generation, whatever energy you have or energy resource you have gets converted to heat resource.
Right. Which I suppose we could talk about that. There's also so there's a heat resource, but then there's also what is that? It's not greens, is it?
It's just plants.
Oh, it's plants resource. That's right. I kept calling it greens, like collard greens or something in my head, and I'm like, I don't know why I kept doing that.
It's fine. Works.
Every 8
every 8
of each of them,
you can increase either the oxygen for the plants and temperature for the heat resource.
Yeah, but the difference is
the global goal.
Yeah, toward the global goal. The only difference is that the plants one is you create a forest on the map.
Yeah.
And then that increases the oxygen level.
Whereas the heat
it just increases the heat. The other thing is that like you can continuously use the oxygen level one, the plants, to get more VP past, like even if you've maxed out the oxygen goal.
Yeah, because
it gives VP next to
cities.
Yes. Yeah.
Because when you place them next to cities, each city gives 1 VP per green around it.
Right. And so, it's really important to have a bunch. At least I found.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's about it. Yeah, you just kind of like go back and forth, drawing cards and playing cards, buying them, using your resources
Speaking of
carefully.
drawing cards, it's actually slightly different from drawing.
Oh yeah, that's true.
What it is you draw like 4 cards per generation. It's like a research phase.
Yeah,
You draw 4, and then
you have to pay for
you
them.
you pick which ones you want and pay 3 MC per
Right.
one you picked to like keep.
Yeah.
So it's a little different than just drawing cards. It's like you draw the cards and then you decide if you want to keep those cards or not, and you pay for each card. So it's like it's another level of strategy where you just like you may, if you draw like 4 really good cards and you want to save your MC for other things, like other cards you may have in your hand already,
Maybe
you
you
might
don't
have
buy
to
as
pass
many.
on. Yeah,
Yeah.
you might have to pass on these few cards
Well,
to
and the
save your
other
MC
thing
to
is,
use.
there are cards with requirements like oxygen and like temperature and
Yeah, like
ocean
minimum.
count requirements built in.
Max. Yep.
Yeah, minimum maximum. And so like I think we both ran into this problem where like we accidentally bought a card because we didn't check what the temperature was or like the oxygen level was, and it said it's like a maximum of this, and we
It
had
was a
already
maximum
passed it.
of minus 18 degrees, which is actually fairly low on the temperature scale, the temperature goal. So it's like we already passed that, and I'm like, okay, well,
That's
I
useless.
can't use this anymore. And luckily, there's a standard, which we should also talk about, the standard projects.
Oh
which
yeah,
you can sell cards,
very important.
which unfortunately takes a whole action, which is kind of dumb. But
Well, and it's really awkward too, right? Because I do believe, if I'm remembering correctly, at the end of the game, any extra cards left over get converted to VP. So, like, by all accounts, you could technically spend MC at the end of the game and just hoard cards forever, and get a bunch of VPs that way.
It's also if like you need to sell cards right now to get some MC.
Yeah.
It is 1 MC per sold card, which is a little low in my opinion, but that's okay.
Yeah, it is kind of annoying, but I think it's like it's designed to be.
You can sell multiple cards at a time.
I think it's designed to be like a last resort. Like, oh, I'm so close to using this card, but I need like 2 MC, so I'll sell these 2 other cards to get it.
And then the other standard projects are power plant, which increases your energy production. I think the next one is,
well, it's like really like, so you can actually buy one of everything.
Yeah, basically. A power plant, which increases your production, your energy production. Asteroid, which increases the temperature by 1. An aquifer, which places an
adds
ocean.
An ocean. I think you missed a mining colony.
No, you can't. I'm looking at it right now.
Oh, you're looking at it right now? Okay, I was gonna say, I thought you
mining
could.
colony was a card that you played.
Yeah.
You could buy a granary, which increases the oxygen and places a granary, and then you can buy a city, which I believe it gives you a city, and I think gives you.
It's like 2 or 3 MC production.
It gives you MC production, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is like, you want cities because you need MC to buy almost everything.
Yeah.
Which those standard projects do cost MC to do. So it's like, yeah, you need those things to. You need the MC to buy things.
Yeah, I think I didn't do this the other games, but the game that we played together, my goal was to get as much MC at the beginning, like MC production at the beginning, as I could. But like, it didn't really work out. It was kind of a wash because you just got like an equivalent number of goals done. And so like without the MC production, you had more MC production than me, just because you like added a couple of greeneries, added a couple of temperatures, added an ocean, and I was like, well,
because what it is at each generation, how you get your MC is it's your TR, your terraforming
rating
gets added to your MC, and then your production.
Right.
So it's like whatever your TR is your MC,
right?
Your current MC, and then you get your MC production added to it. So it's like by having more TR at the beginning, I got more MC at the beginning.
Yeah. So, it's I think this game is like really, really you can do a lot with the strategy.
It's a little complicated, but like there are a lot of avenues for strategy.
Well, and the other thing is like it really, if you're a board game playing person, you can pick these up like really quickly. I think by the end of the first game, I was like up on the way to play, and then by the end of the second game, I was like, okay, so this is what not to do. You know?
Yeah, pretty much.
And like this would definitely be a game to play with our family, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think that
I agree
that our family would definitely enjoy this type of game because they all like Catan. And so, this is like, I don't know, this, I feel like this is kind of like a better Catan.
Yeah, it's like a cooler version.
Definitely. Like, I know that a lot of people really like Catan, but like this is, I think this is better.
A little bit. It's a little more complicated, but
well, and the other thing is like in Catan, I feel like there's a lot of ways you can like screw over other people that kind of like gets people up in their feelings.
I mean, yeah, there is, but that's mainly just from like blocking where people place their cities and stuff, which you can do technically in this.
Yeah, but I don't know, like.
But yeah, there is enough. As you said earlier, there's enough land, like spots on the map where it's like.
Well, and the other thing is. Go ahead.
You can in Catan you can only place cities in like if they have roads next to them. Mm-hmm. Whereas in this, if you want to build a city,
you can just plop it down.
Put it anywhere.
Well, and that's anywhere the other thing I was going to say
isn't designated for like ocean or volcanoes or stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So the other thing I was going to say is like in Catan, it feels like if you've invested in things, but you don't reach the number of those things that gets you like longest road, reach the number of roads that blah, 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 blah. And then you like get a big boon from having all these roads. And if you don't reach these like specific milestones, it's a waste.
It's a waste. Yeah,
and so like
get nothing.
A person could invest absolutely minimal amounts of things, like let's say for the roads, to block your longest road. And then because oftentimes the number of spaces is so restricted with that number of people that you just have nowhere else to build.
Yeah, nowhere else to road, and you just are blocked off forever from longest road.
And so it's like, oh, well, okay, I just lose then. You know? Yeah. And like that doesn't feel very good because the person obviously deliberately ruined your gameplay because they wanted to win, which is fine, but it still doesn't feel very good, you know?
No.
Whereas like this game, it's like you just play things.
Yeah, there's several different avenues of like, oh, if somebody blocks where you wanted to put a city, okay, switch your strategy to let me just play a bunch of cards that ups my production, which I can just make the temperature higher every turn. Yeah. Like, or every generation, I guess.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, you're right. It's like,
and just do that and get my TR up that way, and if I get my TR is up, I get a bunch of MC. I can play more cards, easy peasy.
Or even like, let's say somebody's like, oh, I'm gonna build a bunch of cities and a bunch of greeneries. It's like, okay, they're getting the oxygen up, but what if I do the other two quickly, and they have nothing else except for those, and so you make the game end very quickly, and so you have all the other VP that's just been left, and they have like none because their strategy takes a long time to develop.
Yeah.
Right. Like there's all these other things to where you can like all these other strategies that you can use to win this game. Whereas like, I don't know, I feel like there's a lot of
kind of limited.
Yeah. In Catan, it's a lot more like, darn. But
yeah.
Maybe that's just me. I don't know. Maybe I haven't played Catan enough. I've only played like 3 or 4 games of this, and I think that it's better anyway. So,
yeah.
Yeah. Do you have anything else you want to say? Anything else
No,
you want to add?
That's it.
I mean,
there are the milestones and awards, which are like milestones are.
Oh yeah.
If you have this many of this thing, you can buy that award or milestone, and you get 5. Well, I think it's incremental. I think for the first purchase, it's like 5, and then it's like 3 and 2.
Yeah. Well, it's very strange because the first game that I played, I think I bought like one of the milestones or rewards for like the 8MC, but then another person bought one and it reset from 14 cost to 8 again.
Yeah, that was probably the awards. Those ones are the ones that like go up in price when you buy them.
Yeah, I don't know.
The milestones are the ones that stay. Whoever buys them, they keep forever.
Yeah, and it adds 5 VP at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Which is it's not game breaking. Like
no.
The ones in Catan are like, you need 3 of these to win, and this is 2 of them. It's like, okay, well, I need to like make sure that I get this, otherwise I will not win. Whereas this is like, how much did we end with? We ended with like 90 something.
Yeah.
Like 5 is not going to kill you. But yeah, like I really think that the design of this game is very intelligent. The port to the PC is very polished and like very playable, and it runs really nicely. And yeah, like I would definitely recommend this to you if you really like board games.
Another thing is with Catan, it also relies heavily on luck, because you roll a dice to determine what resources you get.
Also, I think it also relies on like making deals with other people.
Yeah, that's true, because you're settlers, you're trading with people,
and like
so it's like, and if nobody wants to do that, you're kind of screwed.
Well, yeah.
Whereas in this,
it brings politics in.
In this, there's like none of that. There's no random. The only random is what cards you may pull per like research phase, and that's like, all right, that's fine.
Yeah, like
I've got other cards in my hand that I can do at this moment, and I don't need these.
That is one thing that I'm not really not really happy about when it comes to Catan. Maybe that's why I don't like Catan as much as like you have to convince people to trade with you, and that oftentimes comes down to like a level of personal politicking and like who you want to see win. If like you're somebody who's definitely going to lose, you can like shovel your resources onto one person and they can end up winning. Like that's the type of thing that I don't really like in my games, because I don't know if you know this, but I've got this like reputation of winning a lot, which is not true at all.
It's not just true anymore. It's just stuck.
Well, it's just stuck, but also like the reason why it's stuck is because I'm really good at picking up the rule set and exploiting the rule sets early.
You're really good at picking up the rule sets. You're really good at like psychology, I guess.
Well,
convincing people. You're also very good at strategy.
I can find the exploitable like strategies that the developers have either put in or left in, and like exploit them very quickly, whereas other people take like multiple games to really find that like easier win button. And so it gets me wins like the first time or second time that we play, but like if we played a board game like 10 times, I would probably only win those first 2 games and maybe another one. Like I don't win that much. I just win early.
Yeah.
because I'm
Which
able
then,
to pick things up quick.
Which then, of course, puts like don't do anything with him because he wins.
Yeah, like this is the first time we played this. Well, Peter's gonna win, so let's knock him down. It's like, okay, but like, come on, let's be serious.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you're being serious, but it doesn't feel very good on my end.
Yeah.
But that's okay. It's all in good fun as long as like it's not an entire group of like an entire table like rooting against me. It's I really don't care if you have a card that gives you an advantage and you take from one person and you say, "Oh, you've got the most," and you take it from me, it's like I'm not going to be butthurt about it. I'm just, it is what it is. I'm just, it's the it's the small petty actions that happen from time to time where I'm like, oh, you could have done that to anybody, and there are three other people. There are three other people that have more than me, and you did it to me anyway. Okay. I understand. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's it. I think we're good. I think
that's it.
I think that's all done. That we have to say.
What's the rating you give?
I don't want to give this like a super duper high rating just because.
No, but not a low one either.
Yeah, I'm not going to give it a low rating at all. But it's not going to be a super high rating just because this is not a video game necessarily. Like as a video game, I'm going to give it like a 6.5. But as a board game, I'm going to give it a 9.
That's fair. I think I'm going to give it I want to say 6, I guess, as a video game. No, I'll change it to a 7 because like it's a really polished like port of the board game.
Yeah.
But also,
it does just feel good to play.
A 9 as a board game.
Yeah.
Because I do agree. It's actually really fun.
Like I would, if this was a board game I had in my house, I'd probably try to play it a lot. The only problem is that like I don't think it would play very well as a board game. It's a lot of parts.
It is a little complicated. It's a lot of parts, but I feel like there would be a lot of like things on the table to keep track of.
Yeah.
Which there is.
Whereas in the video game, not as much. Which kind of just tells you everything.
Yeah, because it tells you everything. Which is why I said I kind of want to buy the physical version to see like how that would work.
Yeah. All right. I think that is about it.
Yeah, I think that's it.
The next game, hopefully it's a game. The next game on our list is called Eternal Threads. I have no idea what that game's about. I haven't looked at it. One even single thing. Eternal Threads. I think this is a space game as well. Oh, right. Actually, I do know this. It says alter the past to save the future. This is the one where you can... It's a story game.
Story-driven puzzle game of time manipulation, choice, and consequence. Okay, that sounds neat.
Yeah, it's this one's actually I was looking forward to because I really like story games. And this one looks kind of neat.
Yeah. It looks like it will kind of be like whatchamacallit, Close to the Sun, but like actually
hopefully not like spooky. It
not
only
spooky,
says
but I mean like puzzle
for sexual themes, strong language, and violence.
I meant more of the like puzzle and story aspect.
Yeah. Hopefully there's more puzzles than that game. So, all right, that will be our game for next week. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you later. Goodbye.
All right, bye-bye.